All right, we're getting a few more people in the room. Thank you guys for being here on such short notice. We'll get started here in about 30 seconds. All right, guys, let's go ahead and get started here. I want to make sure you guys can see my screen. I'm going to double check that, make sure. If you can put a yes in the chat box, that would be very, very helpful. Thank you very much. If one can see it, we can all see it. I'm going to minimize a couple things. Welcome again today. Happy New Year's. It is New Year's Eve, 2025, a day after our town hall. Just want to say thank you again for the short notice and showing up. And we're going to talk about TideFusion. So we got about 20 minutes. That's all I'm going to take of your time. Let me go ahead and put this so you know I am an actual person here. Let's go right here. So you can see as in the screen, you should be able to see me as well in the window. If not, that's fine too. Any which way. All right. Before we even start talking about trading, um, just take a moment and think about that just for a second. What you're looking at in Tide Fusion is something that has been in the works for probably a decade. We didn't know it. We weren't looking for it. But ideas after ideas, notepads, I got notes everywhere. Um, but this has been building intentionally for a long time. We just didn't have it programmed into a system yet. It wasn't fast. It's been a process. It's been a over a decade of trading and trying to find things that are simple. This was not built for hype-driven anything. It definitely wasn't thrown together. It's the overnight success, in my opinion, that's taken years to do. So just know that this represents a shift away, hopefully from for you guys from chaos when you look at the markets, because 2025 was definitely that, and into clarity, which we talked about yesterday, clarity, structure, execution. So, and that's really what today is about, is introducing you to Tide Fusion and kind of getting an understanding of what it actually really is. And I'm going to hit a couple of highlights here for you guys. I'm going to allow you some questions and answers, so feel free to put them in the chat box and I'll address them towards the end if that's all right. But let's go ahead and dive in. So, if you've been trading any sort of length of time, you already know everything I'm going to tell you in some way or other. The markets don't fail us. We fail ourselves normally. We have a tendency of chasing, hesitating, overthinking, overtrading, procrastinating, doubting, second guessing. And most of that does not come from a lack of input. It does not come from a lack of information. It definitely doesn't come from a lack of intelligence. Most of our traders are well read, well schooled. What it comes down to is, we talked about it yesterday, it comes down, you have that three-legged stool of clarity, structure, and execution. And most people think execution is the thing they struggle with, when it really is not. Tide Fusion is going to bring you clarity for one, but I believe in most people that Tide Fusion will also bring you the structure that you lack. It will keep you from chasing. It will keep you from procrastinating. It will keep you from overthinking, overtrading, all that stuff. And so if you follow Tide Fusion, you follow the rules that we're going to give you, I think you'll find clarity and structure. So then it comes right back down to the execution, which is the easy part. So Tide Fusion is not about predicting the future. It's not about it's not about giving you a guarantee. There are none, and anybody who gives you a guarantee are not telling you the truth. But it has been developed as a tool to provide you some calmness, giving you objective framework so you can hopefully stop fighting the market and kind of start flowing with it. And that's kind of why we kind of gave it the wave look. Because the markets do ebb and flow. We, excuse me, we hear about the ebb and flow of a market. So I thought the name was absolutely perfect for it, and that's why we called it Tide Fusion, because the markets really do move in these tides. They're never in a straight line. And if there is a straight line, it's usually down, and we're usually not selling. So I want to make sure that we hit this and today take 20 minutes at most, hopefully, that you can understand what it's doing. So as I'm speaking to you, I want you to be watching the screen and reading it for yourself because I'm not going to read the screen. I have an idea what it says and what because I created it, but this is strictly for you to get a feel for what Tide Fusion is. So I want to dive into what traders' real problems are. Most of our traders prefer simplicity and time freedom. And so that is one of the key pieces of TideFusion is that you don't have to sit in front of a screen for hours. You can check 2 to 3 times a day, which may take you 1 to 2 minutes a day. I spend 30 to 45 minutes a whole week in swing trading at most. I have the time savvy trader session. It's geared to 15 to 30 minutes a week, and that's how swing trading should be. 4 hour isn't about predicting every candle. It has nothing to do with that. It's about catching the middle of a trend, not the bottoms, not the tops, but the middle meat of it and the real moves, identifying those trends. So we have fewer decisions to make, less emotion about it. You don't get all hyped up on that dopamine that we talked about. Day trading's not bad. It's just different. So most traders don't actually need more indicators. They need actually less. They need to make fewer decisions because every time you add another signal, you add another opinion, another time frame, another YouTube strategy, you're really not getting smarter. And I'm not saying anything about education. Um, you're actually just getting more noise in your head with great intention. So Tide Fusion was really kind of built to reduce the noise and not to increase it. We focus on the trend legs and not every single wiggle that you'll see in the market. And the cool thing about it does work around your job. It works around your family. It should not interfere. And most importantly, it should not interfere with your sleep. That's important. So I put a little data chart there that shows you the comparison of time needed to be a successful day trader, to be a successful scalper, and there's not very many of those. And then the time it's needed to be successful in swing trading. So this is an illustration of screen time. It's not exact. It's not any sort of performance claim. This is just from the data that I found. Again, like I said, I spent about 30 to 45 minutes for me. With that being said, let's continue on and hopefully, yeah, I think you could, yeah, you can call it a set and forget type situation. Yeah, absolutely. That tells me you're a trader. I don't know you. I guess you got it in the Telegram. Welcome. Hopefully, we'll get to know you a little bit better. But yeah, it's kind of a set and forget type thing. If you have a good rule-based strategy. So, what does Tide Fusion do? That's what everybody's really wanting to know. Uh, just know that if Tide Fusion is going to filter the market down to one simple question. Is the market trending? And then, if it is trending, is it safe for you personally to get into or participate in that trend? That's what it's going to do for you. So Tide Fusion looks at the market and it looks through 3 different lenses, and you can see the 3 different lenses on your screen. Um, it trend structure or trend direction. It identifies the health of that trend, and it also will provide you with the timing for you to participate. You got some options there, but it will give you an indication when you should participate. It really doesn't care about news. It doesn't care about analysts. It doesn't care about opinions. It doesn't care about what somebody said on Twitter. It doesn't care what came out on any social media. It only cares about what the price is actually doing. That's that clarity piece that we talked about yesterday. And it looks across the entire currency ecosystem. So we're looking at broader scope currency market overall, and then we pinpoint it into our pairs. So instead of reacting emotionally to every single candle that comes popping by, like you do on a 15 minute, like you have to on a 15 minute or a 5 minute chart, uh, you let the system tell you this is worth paying attention to, or this is not worth paying attention to. So inside of Tide Fusion, we find the trend structure, and then we have Tide Strength Filter. We kind of mirrored it after Hercules in a way. to give it since everybody's familiar with a 7 point score, I made it a 7 point score. So seven being strongest. You can use that if you so choose, or you don't have to. Completely up to you. We also put an optional filter for those who like higher time frame comparison. So for the 4 hour chart, since this is our focus, our higher time frame is naturally our daily chart. So that's an option for you to also include in there. So we have trend visualization, we have strength confirmation, and then we have that optional higher time frame. So we'll show you here in a second what it looks like live. Let me go ahead and see if I can jump into my live one that I just did today. I took a trade, probably not because I should have, but because I wanted to show how it looks in the real world. So when we look at this, this is exactly what we're looking for. We've got multiple. Now, I only put the two indicators that I wanted to be visual. There's more things going on in the background than just the two colored lines and a couple of flags. But those were the visual pieces that I thought would keep things very, very quiet, very, very calm, very, very simple for you guys. And so this is what it looks like. I got a buy signal. I wasn't paying attention. And so I didn't even get it on the signal here. I actually got it two candles later. And now we're coming down. But I also recognize this is an area of concern. I'm not, if this is truly a trend though, and it appears to be, that this will slowly chew up, but we will have up and downs, and my stop is below a significant pivot, which is right here. I could get tighter if I wanted to, but per my rules, I stuck it next to a significant pivot low for myself. And then I risked my one to get 1.5. So I have a 1.5 to 1 ratio, and you can see everything structured, and I let it alone. So I wanted to share that with you, and we'll talk about it again here in a moment. But this is one of our stronger pairs. And so with that being said, we identify tide strength and stuff like that and have all that, but we don't have to react emotionally. It's just here it is, and there we go. So one tracks the structure, one's tracking the consistency of that structure, and then we have the strength. So you don't really have to understand math to benefit from the output that the TideFusion provides you. It's just kind of like you don't have to understand engine compression to be able to drive a car. You just have to trust that it's built properly. That means demo it first, take a test drive, get confident with it, and then drive the machine. And then follow your rules. Okay. So that is our three lenses that we look through. And then this is a picture, this is a demo picture that I was playing with, circling all the potential entries I could have, and then also flagging the ones that have strength. So when you see a flag, I'm using the strength, the tide strength indicator. And we'll talk about some options of how you can get into a buy, but I just wanted to kind of give you a very, very basic guide example of what it looks like. So whole above, let me make sure there's not a question because I heard something happen here. Any questions here? No, we're good. We're good. Okay, cool. Let me minimize that again. There we go. And so we have this nice little flow. This is the pound US. This is a first time it got green, first time it got green. I could have taken a buy right here, and I would have had to pay. My stop would have been below here. So I would have paid, and I probably would have made it out. I would have got real close to my stop. And if I was patient, I'd have got out right here where it changed color. If I'm really patient, I'd got out here. But if I am a hard nose, I'm going to put my stop below the pivot and I'm going to get out only then, I would still be in the trade. Okay, so there's options here, and that goes back to your personality that we talked about yesterday. And we'll help guide you through that. But the key thing is clarity, structure, and execution, and making sure that you get a signaled event. That means you've listened to your TideFusion. You have an entry order planned. You have your risk size ready to go. You know what it is. And then you have your specific exit rules. Don't add anything to it. Don't do anything. Don't go, well, I know this. And that's what I was talking with Al today about. He's always said, well, if I do this and this, I said, stop. Let the strategy do what the strategy does. Don't add, because here's what happens naturally. If you're not a successful trader and you've struggled, and maybe you're just a break-even trader, and you take a system like this, you start trying to massage it to make it to where you think you're in control. And what you do is you end up bringing it right back to where you were when you started as a break-even trader. because that's what we naturally do. We want to put it in a framework where we feel like we had something to do with it. I'm going to give you a 2026 goal. Don't. Have a plan, have a checklist, follow it. That's your job. Have a plan, have a checklist, follow it. Do it over and over and over and keep track of that. So again, you just need to trust that system. Okay. And I would do want to mention why we uh, chose 4 hour, because I already had a question in the system said, can we go on lower time frames? Yeah, you could, but you need to understand what you're doing if you're going to do that, because the calculations that we put inside of TideFusion are geared to 4 hour. Period, with the daily being the higher time frame. They're not geared to 1 hour. They're not geared to a 6 hour. They're not geared to a daily chart. They're geared to 4 hours. So those calculations I'm going to show you, these points that you have an opportunity to play with, that's where you'll be able to adjust it as you fully understand TideFusion. So we intentionally built TideFusion for that 4 hour time frame, and not because lower time frames are better, worse. I love to day trade, but because the higher time frames can give you three advantages that you don't have in the lower time frame. Number one, the signal quality is going to be better on a higher time frame, because that's going to be more institutional like. Um, Number two, it's going to give you more time to think. I got my buy notice and I didn't get in for another 8 hours. If I was paying attention, I could have got in at a much better price. But the trend is strong. The trend indicator location was strong, and my tide strength gave me a go. So I'm going to take a chance on the go and let it do what it's going to do. Number three, another thing, reason for 4 hours is definitely less emotional interference. You don't get caught up in watching where am I moving and moving anything. You can walk away. So this system is one that you can do during a full-time job like myself. You don't have to interfere with family where your spouse and your kids, grandkids, or whatever are upset that you're always on a screen. And it allows you to have a life and get involved in church, get involved in your sporting events, get involved in family events. So you're not chained to a screen, and you're not reacting to every single 5 minute candle. You're calmly checking a few times a day. And if you do it right, like I'm going to show you, you'll have that little tap on your shoulder in your back pocket, letting you know there's been a signal, and you don't have to rush or anything. You just know you got a signal. So that's really how sustainable trading works. So what you're seeing on the screen again, green does not mean buy. Red doesn't mean sell. It just means when these green are together, and we talked about this yesterday, this is alignment. This is a picture of alignment. When both lines are the same color, and I could change them to any color. We just, as traders, get used to green and red, green being an uptrend, red being a downtrend. We just get used to it. So this just proves alignment. It means that the market has shifted in a way into a condition where participation is statistically better in your favor, providing you the edge that you're looking for. It doesn't chase tops. It doesn't chase or catch the bottoms. We're really looking for the middle, just like we've illustrated right here, the middle of that trend. And that's significant money being made, consistently being made. So this system is a checklist. We're not going to be guessing. We're verifying. In live charts, we're going to point out where the checklist becomes true and where we add or where we can avoid those trades. So we will share that as we develop a lesson inside of our members area only. And I know we have non-members here, but we can talk about that later. You'll have access to this as well. So again, let's move on to another question that was brought up. Why we trade these pairs. We've done some statistical analysis, historical data with a heavy weight to the last 6 to 12 months on pairs that structurally trended well. That's all we're looking for. We don't trade everything. We are looking for historically pairs that trend well, they move cleanly, and they respect the structure that we're looking for within the system. So the pairs that you see on the screen are not any order of importance. These are the four top ones: pound US, US yen, Aussie, and pound yen. And then we have our two backups at the bottom: Aussie US and Euro US. I will say that statistically over the last 6 months, the US yen is your number one pair, followed by your pound yen, and then Aussie yen, pound US, I believe is the order that came out in my analysis. So again, this is not, and I gave you reasons why those pairs stuck out over the last 6 months. You can take a look at the screen and understand that a little bit better. Again, if you have a small account, don't trade four. That would be dumb. Maximum two, maximum two, if you have only $1,000 account. So this isn't about being exciting. It's actually about being boring, purposefully boring, but mainly high probability and reliability. Everybody's wanting reliability. We talked about that yesterday. Everybody's wanting consistency. They ask questions, but what they really want is a guarantee. This is close. It's going to provide you some reliability. I want to dive in just a brief time on the inputs. Now, this is all set up on the input of your tool. So let me go ahead and just show you on the screen here, if you don't mind. Bring that up. So when you go over to TideFusion, go over to settings, just gonna bring up this window right here. Okay, that was the same thing we're showing. Each one of these has a little bubble window that when you hover over will give you some insightful information on if you change this, what's it going to impact. Now, your default coming out of the box is TideFusion will be defaulted to pound US 4 hour. Now, remember, every pair has its own personality. So I will also be providing you with a standardized setting for all 6 pairs. What seems to be standard. Now, that doesn't mean they can't be tweaked. Okay. I would also tell you though, whenever you change these and you update your TideFusion, you need to update your alerts, and we'll talk about that in a second. So you can choose any of these. I removed all visual opportunities of change. I removed anything that did with any sort of calculation. It is very, very specific in here. We did it intentionally simple. The best systems are, oh, I'm sorry, I just switched screens on you. You can't see it. I can just stay right here. That's fine. Um, the best systems are always going to be boring. And we're going to show you the settings that you can mix and match, and everything has those information bubbles that you can have. So defaults are tuned to the 4 hour, just like it says. Talked about the tooltips. I did that, told you about that. Only adjust. Okay, when you do make adjustments, don't do it right away. Understand what you're doing. If it feel, but make small adjustments in the right area. If things feel like you're getting a signal too late or it's coming too early and it's becoming too noisy, make very, very, very small. And as you grow with us in our classes, with our community, we got a community of people who are going to be helping as well. Nobody's going to be trading alone, so I'm not too worried about that part. Just be listening and be involved where you can hear what's happening. And I'm going to show you how to do an alert instead, and I'll bring this screen back up and I'll just briefly talk about it. We're going to go to the trading view. We're going to go to invite only. On our TideFusion chart, we're going to do all that. It's a little out of order. I put it in the wrong order. No, I didn't. I put it in the right order. Invite only, put TideFusion on, create your alert. So I'm not going to put the invite only part. I'll show you where that goes. And the key thing for this is the alerts. The wonderful thing about alerts is you don't have to stare at your screen all day. When you set it up, I set it up to my phone. I get a little buzz on my phone. If I have time during class to look at it, great. If I don't, I wait till after school. It's a 4 hour candle. I don't have to rush home. So your phone becomes that assistant that taps you on the shoulder saying, "Hey, pay attention to this." And the same alert logic can be routed into automation at some point in the future. Hopefully, that's the next phase. So let me go ahead and show you this again. We're going into, I think I showed everything. And let me just say this one here. I want to go over here. Don't change any of these. This one you could if you wanted to, but keep everything the same. Everyone needs to be looking at the same thing. So when you may call with a problem or message with a problem, we know that everybody's looking at the same thing. So how do I create an alert? I've got alerts already for Sentinel here. I got my one TideFusion. Let me go ahead and close that out. I'm going to create a US yen right here in front of you alert. So I've gone to my indicators. I've gone to my invite only. I've found TideFusion, okay? And I loaded it on. I go to now my alert. I pull up at price, TideFusion, and I leave it right here and I create my alert just like that. And it pops it down here. So anytime an alert comes to me, it will, well, I say it's going to pop. Did I not save it? Let's try that again. I'm going to alerts. I'm going to, put right there. Boom. And I may need to refresh my screen. That may be what the problem is. Yeah, I'm going to have to refresh my screen. I'm in the middle of an order, so it will pop up later. But anyway, you'll see a thing right down here. Let me save that. Go ahead and close that out and refresh my screen. And let's see what we got here. And I don't know why it didn't take. Is the market closed? No, not closed yet. I think it's going to order. I may have to shut it all down though. If you have a problem like this, let me know. But I had it earlier. You saw it. There it is. I've gotten bunch of them now. Got a bunch of alerts that came out earlier today. So probably need to get rid of these first. I've got two of these now. Yep, there we go. I know what I deleted. I deleted what the alert was. Okay, so we're good to go. And so we've got all our alerts sitting here in the bottom there. And the question is do I have to have my PC on to get the alerts? According to TradingView's documentation, no, you don't have to have your screen on. I like to leave mine on to leave no excuse for not getting one because I never trust anything. We do notice we had a Aussie yen in the mix of all this, but I am not a thrill. Notice how we got a buy and then it turned red. That could be an opportunity since I'm delaying not to get in it. Things could change. Price is now also below. That's another reason not to get in. Just ideas like that. Context. Good lesson there. All right, so let's dive back into our screen. We discussed that. We're doing good on time. We didn't do this, but this is basically what we're looking for. This is just a simple idea for a trade framework. It is not a trade plan. It's not there to make you money. But the key is for us is to always manage risk and be a good steward. We talk about that regularly. So a possible option, you can always do a buy stop. We'll discuss that in our classes later on, what that means and how you can trade that. Where do you put your stop and how do you set your target? If you do that, you step away, walk away, you're done. So I could easily say, okay, I got this alert right here. I'm in the trade. My stop would have to be down here. It could be right here, reasonable pivot. And then I go 1.5 to 1. In this case, because my stop is so small, I'd probably go 2 to 1, to be honest. And I would have made it in hindsight. But hindsight's always easier to analyze. So again, this is just an example framework for you guys. And I want to talk about risk management because that's all it is. Okay, we don't build systems to gamble. We build systems to be good stewards. And that means controlling your risk. That means predefined exits. That means you're having no emotional trades. You don't win by being right. You win by being consistent. So remember that. TideFusion is not about being perfect. It's about being disciplined. Tools are great, but these are the guardrails that make the difference. These risk parameters are the guardrails of keeping you, protecting you from yourself, like we talked about yesterday. We keep the risk as small as possible and consistent so we can stop trading after bad streaks. Okay. And we definitely stop trading after bad streaks. And we'll talk about that. So we have a 0.75 default. That's just a suggestion. I like the 1 to 1.25 for my personal. I can go up to 4% for my personal, depending on my account size. Okay. Max trades open at a time, 2. And the reason, if you're trading 2 pairs, it won't matter. But if you're trading 4 pairs, there's a thing called correlation, and you could kind of negate your profitability when you're in too many trades at one time. If you happen to have 2 losses consecutively, then you stop trading for that day. Now that becomes a little bit of an issue in the 4-hour chart. I like to say it this way. If I have 2 losing trades within 24 hours, I stop trading for 24 hours. That's how I do it. That doesn't happen very often. So, but it does happen from time to time. And maybe a good stand, especially starting out, is a 4% risk. That's based on 0.75, by the way. A 4% risk for the week. Take some time off, protect the capital, figure out what went wrong. Did you follow your checklist? Did you follow your rules? If you followed all your rules and you didn't break one of them and you had a 4% loss week, then trade the week next week again. If it happens again, then we need to make an adjustment in the system because you're following your rules. If your rules are good and you followed them, then you have no problem there. But these are just simple house things that you can automate for yourself later on. Very simple stuff. So I want to talk about what you can expect with this thing, where everybody's always asking, what am I going to make? What am I going to? Let's talk about those expectations. This is not double your account in a weak system. There- That's extremely high leverage and extremely high risk to be able to double your account in a week. This is a true grow your account steadily over time, and you're going to have a longer term mindset on this. So we're going to be aiming for 4 to 6% per month with proper risk control. And that's a good thing. If you do that, you're outperforming most of the people on the entire planet. You're in the top 5% for sure. Now, let me just say this. If I were to tell you 2026 as trade masters, I'm going to promise you a 50% return in your account. I'm going to promise you. Most of you go, put me in, sign me up. But as soon as you get on the trading account, you start day trading and you start seeing that you're doing 2 to 3% a week, then all of a sudden your expectations go skyrocketing. And then when you fail, you don't know what to do with it. So you chase strategies. That's what happens. That's inevitably when you have bad expectations, you end up chasing. So I want you guys to be thinking of this 4 to 6% per month. It doesn't sound like a lot. It really doesn't. And if you have a very small account, it's gonna be a slow grow. I always encourage my small account people to stick to the trade plan. But let's just say you have a $500 account, then dedicate yourself to depositing personal money, $50 a week or $50 a month into that account every month. Okay. In addition to that, trade what's in there with proper risk management, and you will definitely double your amount in a year. It's very simple to do so. Um, but if you think mathematically, and I'm a math guy, 4 to 6%, let's just talk about the 4%. That's nearly 50% annualized return. Slow grow. Okay. If you happen to get good 6%, you're at 72% annualized, and that is beating most everybody on the planet. Regardless of what social media advertisement shows you. They're only showing you their wins. They're not going to show you them blowing up their accounts. We've seen it from our friends. Here, we're doing good, we're doing good, we're doing good, and then the account blows up. The system broke. Okay. So slow is fast in trading. Slow is fast in trading. Okay, remember that. And this system is really good for people who know really nothing about trading, but can follow a set of rules and follow the rules regularly and dedicate themselves to just following the rules for an hour a week most at most. Okay, so some months, remember again, you've already read the screen by now. There's chops and there's no trends at times. Um, but the key thing for your trial is, does this fit your life? Does this, and it should fit anybody's style, but it may not. Okay, so be cognizant of that slow is fast when it comes to trading, and compounding and saving is key. Okay. I did mention a 30-day member trial. If you're a member, you're going to get this tonight, most likely the first thing in the morning. So you'll want to go to your setup and begin setting things up. For those that are not members, we are running a $99 intro till January 3rd. Reach out to me if you're interested in that. And then you can, if you once you sign up as a new member, you get all the tools for 30 days without any extra expense, and then you can pick and choose what you want. And then Sherlock's also included in that. So again, run on demo, and you'll be looking for TideFusion. I'll give you the name to look for in the invite only. Um, and then I had some questions before we started from people who couldn't make today. And there's a couple of questions in the box that I'll answer here in a moment. I just want you to know there's no pressure. I'm not trying to sell you. I just want you to experience this because this is a good stuff. I'll run it in demo, watch it work, see how it behaves, and then once you know it goes, then run with it. If it gives you peace, keep it. If it doesn't, then just walk away. There's no pressure, no hype or anything like that. Just an invitation. My hope is not that you make money. My hope is that you actually become calmer, more confident and disciplined trader. Because if you do if you're calmer, confident, more disciplined, you will make money. Uh, because that version of you will always go further than the version of losing money. So TideFusion is not just a tool. Just make sure you know it's not a tool. It's just a tool that's going to help shape your habits to trade, and those habits end up shaping your outcome. And so let me address a couple of questions in the chat box. Is this fully automated? I think I've asked that I did. So two people have asked that question already that I know of for sure. No, not yet. It's not fully automated, and that's intentional. Um, We talked about this yesterday. I don't want this to be a crutch for you're not learning something. We want people to learn and trust the structure first before we turn the automation system on. We want you to understand it. We want you to have confidence in it and not have to worry about it. Does it repaint? No, it does not. How much per time per day? We've kind of already hit that. What pairs should I start with? We've already hit that. We've got another one coming in. Can this use to be on total? Yes, we've already talked about that too. Can it be used on lower time frames? Technically, yes. I would discourage it at this point. Fully understand TideFusion before you start messing with the calculations behind it. The power is in the higher time frame because of the clarity. Uh, what if I miss a trade? Well, good. You missed a trade. Missing trades is part of it because you really only need a few good ones to make your goal for the month. Okay, don't chase, don't chase. What if it stops working? Can you define what you mean? What if it? What is it? What if it stops working? What does that mean? Like within trading view, the trading view goes shut down. Okay. The question is stating, what if it stops working? It's talking about the strategy because I talked about strategies come and go and they work until they don't. Just know this markets change. That's why we have Sentinel. That's why we're coming out with Pathfinder. That's why we have TideFusion. These are all strategy differences. We will recognize pretty quickly as a community when the market overall is going to change. TideFusion is not about patterns, though. So it's going to be a much more difficult system to crack and break than something that's relying on certain types of patterns and candle analysis and things like that. Okay. And that's why we focused on the structure instead of the pattern piece. There is no AI candle analysis inside of TideFusion. Although there is a little AI in there, it's not the analysis of the candle. It's in the structure. Okay. Any more questions? Let me make sure there's nothing else on the back end here. I've already talked about that part, so we'll go right here. No more questions. Okay, good. So again, we're not here to create traders who chase money, kick tires. Um, we really want traders who want to be in discipline. Whether you are disciplined all the time doesn't matter. We want traders who really want to help other people as they move forward as well. Because as I've learned and was pointed out to me by one of our members yesterday, because of my involvement with the Dave Ramsey Corporation, the more people you help, the more money you'll make. It's kind of the same system here as a community. The more people that Al and I and our team and our community help, that are especially the newbies, the money's going to follow. It's going to follow. And that goes with the trade plan as well. So just know that. Yeah, I've got that here just for you, how you can reach out to us. Yeah. Hopefully you can see that on my screen. Just so you guys know, the Telegram that I've listed here is for our general. It is not our inner circle. You can always reach us at trademasters@gmail.com. You can also support at trademasters.com. Our website is there as well. If you want to take advantage of the $99, just email me so I can give you the coupon code for our promo for the $99. You just have to make sure you do it before January 3rd. We'll make sure it's $99. And that will be residual, continual, annual. It'll never go up. So any more questions? Make sure you follow us on YouTube because this will be uploaded in YouTube and as well as Facebook. Make sure you follow and be involved there as well. Subscribe. All right, guys, that is it. Hopefully, this was insightful for you guys. If you have any questions, we'll be doing some sessions on TideFusion during our Monday Time Savvy Trader. I think I'm going to be doing a shift and kind of focus on this for a bit. I think it's going to be a productive time. So if you have any questions, definitely let me know in Telegram and reach out to us. And then just join us on Monday nights, and you'll see TideFusion live. Y'all have a great night. Take care, and Happy New Year.